All right. I'm a little early. I am going to try and do this right. All right. I am Mary at Mary's Heirloom Seeds, and I'm going to give you all a chance to stop by and say hi. I'm going to leave my window here for just a second. Grab my tea. I am supposed to be going live here at 5 o'clock, but I'm going to give myself a couple minutes, give everybody a couple minutes to come and see what we are doing here today. It's been weird. Go ahead and comment if you're joining me. We are doing something a little different today. Hey, Jesse, welcome. All right, so we're doing something a little different today. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to join me. I always go live on Thursdays at 5 o'clock. Usually it's Facebook. Today it's YouTube. So welcome to my very first live YouTube video. All right, so I am going to try to answer some questions while I'm live, but I know sometimes it takes a couple minutes, a couple seconds to everybody to join me. And I can see the comments, which is awesome. Hello from Disney World. Well, sounds like you're having fun over there. Jojo is running amok around here today. So we have a couple people joining me, and I want to give you a couple people some more time because like I said, I always go live at 5. So I want to give you guys a minute. Grab your tea. Tell me what it's like in your part of the world right now. We were going to go live outside today. Unfortunately, as I was preparing for the evening, we had hail, which of course I said, it's giant. And Doc goes, really? That's like pea size. Now, to me, I was born and raised in Southern California, and I've lived in Florida. And then now, of course, we're back in Southern California, but hail is not giant to me. Well, my giant is different than other people's giants. Doc is from Texas. So in Texas, he says they get hail the size of golf balls, or not golf balls, but softballs. So maybe it's bigger in your area than mine. So tell me a little bit about what it's like in your area and where you're growing. We are now at 5 o'clock. So we'll go ahead and get started on our live chat tonight. If you're brand new to my live chat, welcome. If you're brand new to my YouTube chat, welcome. I am newer to YouTube as well, but you will find in the next couple months, we will have a little more content than normal. Today, I wanted to share a little bit of a Q&A with you. A couple weeks ago, I asked, let's see, Barbara says, beautiful sunny day in Florida, transitioning my gardens. Awesome. Now, a couple weeks ago, I posted a link on my website, and it's Grow Your Own Food. And at the very top is a little survey app. It doesn't download anything onto your phone or anything. It's something that we have downloaded into our website so that you can ask your questions. It's a contact page. So you can share your questions, share your comments. And so from that, I'm going to share with you my answers and a little bit of feedback from our customers as well. So thank you again for joining me. I'm really excited to go live here tonight. Like I said, I don't usually go live here on YouTube, but I'm kind of going to transition more into YouTube instead of some of the other social media options we have. So first of all is feedback I received today from a customer. This was order number 5 for him. And he said, this was the most fun I've had in ages. So super excited to be helping people grow. Our goal at Mary's Heirloom Seeds has always been to help you grow the healthiest garden possible. Okay, so I was mentioning how it was hailing earlier. The sun is bright and shiny, but I wasn't prepared now. You know, sometimes gardeners, homesteaders, you know the drill. You plan and you prepare and you want the perfect opportunity. You want the perfect surroundings, the perfect settings for your gardens, for your videos. And then, of course, Mother Nature has her own ideas of what's going to happen for the day or for the garden. Hey, David, you made it. So Mother Nature has her way of just kind of smiling on us and making us enjoy the day. Definitely different being on YouTube, David. I'm enjoying it so far. As I mentioned earlier today, we were going to go live outside. I was going to transplant some of these seedlings, but it was hailing and pouring rain. So I figured, oh, we'll go inside, we'll get our little area prepared. And then the sun came out and we're still inside. All right, so we're going to talk about some feedback we've had. Hey, Barbara, she's coming to us from Zone 10 in Port Charlotte. So number 2 is some feedback we received from yellow scallop squash. Lisa says, my whole family loves these. Even the pickiest eaters enjoy this sweet squash. This one sold me on Mary's. Super excited to hear that. Picky eaters are interesting to cook for and to provide nourishment for, because obviously they need food. And you don't want to have them living on Cheetos and soda all day long, right? So you want to find something a little healthier for them. So I'm glad the scallop squash worked really well for you. So the last one I've got here is, David said, I just planted peppers, tomatoes, some other seeds in starter trays, and I'll be growing indoors till April, then transplanting out. Oops. Try not to knock everything over off my table. That would be awesome. Well, I have some pretty awesome seedlings here. These are going to be going outside. You notice some of the yellowing of the lower leaves. Sometimes that's normal as long as your top leaves are nice and green. But I did just fertilize these, maybe a little late, but not the end of the world. They are still really healthy. These are only a couple weeks old, maybe 2 weeks old, maybe 3. Hey, Lori, thanks for joining us. So back to the questions. Today is our first Q&A. On our website, you'll notice, which is marysheirloomseeds.com, on our notice, there's a part that says, he says, your seedlings look good. What are they? These are Geet Okosomen squash. There is a discrepancy in what they may be, how old they might be. On one account, they say that they are 800 years old. However, the Miami tribe of Native Americans say that they have been passing this variety down within their tribe for 5,000 years. It translates to big old squash, and it is giant. The one that on our website that I'm holding is only 16 and a half pounds. Hey, Julie, thanks for joining us. But they do get to be about 80 pounds. So, I'm sorry, 30 pounds. My brain's fried. I gave my sister some. I had 8. And you'll notice here some of them are more growing. So 30 pounds is a giant squash. So I gave some to my sister, and now I'm growing my own. These were, like I mentioned, I was going to plant these outside, but it didn't. And yes, Jesse says, you missed it in the fall. My harvest last year, I didn't know how well it was going to go. And of course, gophers and all that fun stuff. That's part of one of my questions that I am going to answer tonight. So I had this amazing harvest, but everybody wanted seeds. So there is always a limit when you are growing your own seeds. So we hope to have an even bigger harvest this year and even more seeds available for 2022. So stay tuned for that. Now, tonight, as I mentioned, I want to do a little bit of a Q&A. The number one question is about germinating seeds. So the first question is, as a newbie gardener, how do I germinate seeds in South Florida? So the first part of that, as a newbie gardener, awesome and welcome, and thank you for being a newbie gardener. Robert says, hello, Mary. I just came in from working my fresh beds in my garden. Thank you, Robert, for sharing those photos with me. I really appreciate it. I love seeing your fresh garden ready to go. So newbie gardeners, how are you going to germinate seeds? Now, the South Florida part is a whole nother ball game. And I want to address that first. It absolutely depends on your growing region. I had an email from a lady that was kind of upset because our seed packs don't say when to plant your seeds. But here's why. Why would I plant your seeds in spring when some of my gardeners are planting their seeds in winter and some of us are planting, well, in January, which is winter? So everybody in the US in particular is going to be growing at a different time. There's no one size fits all as far as when to plant your seeds. And that's why we have our comprehensive planting guide available on our website. And I will post the link in the comments below later on. It's on our website. You can use the search option and just put comprehensive. You can also use our growing tips and videos page at marysheirloomseeds.com. So that's exactly why we don't have plant your seeds in spring, because it's going to be different for everybody. Now, for those of you in South Florida in particular, that's going to be zone 10, 10A, 10B, depending on where you are in Florida, depending on your idea of South Florida. I grew in Hollywood, Florida, so that was a completely different growing experience from growing in Southern California. And I've mentioned that before. Hey, Angel, she says, I was so happy to find your seed shop. Such a great variety of seeds. I got several. Thank you. Awesome. Well, thank you as well. The first year growing in South Florida, I planted this beautiful garden and it was so flaming hot, everything practically died because I wasn't aware, or I didn't take the time to go, well, I'm used to planting this way in Southern California. So now I need to learn more about growing in South Florida. I thought, well, I know how to grow from seed. I'm just going to plant some seeds and grow a garden. So it's very important to understand when to plant your seeds, not just how to plant your seeds. David said, I did have an accident today. Oh no, you dropped a whole tray. And now I have a mixed tray and have to replant one tray tomorrow. Oh man, I'm sorry. I absolutely understand that. I have done that as well. Jojo has snacked on my seed trays. We used to have a cat named Rita. She was a demon in the garden. She would chomp down on the leaves and rip out the seedlings and leave it on the ground. She wouldn't even eat it. Jojo, on the other hand, will totally eat it. He loves greens. So David is asking, where's Jojo? If you notice that the curtain was moving a lot, he is out watching all of the birds and the rabbits in the yard. He's probably sitting in the desk chair now. So anyway, so let's sidetracked, cats, squirrels, all that fun stuff. Back to germinating seeds as a newbie gardener. We have a couple videos, again, on our Facebook page and as well as our YouTube page about growing seeds from the beginning. Jose says, still growing the pumpkin and corn I ordered from you online 3 years ago. Thank you for being you. Awesome. Well, thank you for being you. So germinating seeds, Jose touched on a good point that he is planting seeds that are 3 years old. So if your seeds are stored properly, which is a cool, dry, dark place, you can plant those seeds several years later and still have a great germination rate. So very, very important. Hey there, lady, welcome. So let's talk about germination. You have some seeds need light, some seeds need dark, and some seeds need cold, which is cold stratification. So in the comments of this video, as soon as I'm done, I will share a link to our video, our article that explains the different types of seed starting. In general, you want to plant your seeds about twice the width of the seed is how deep you want to plant it. So these seeds in particular, I'm going to show you one that already still has the seed coat on it. So you can see that hopefully. So these were pretty large seeds. It's a squash. It's a very large squash variety. So I planted that much deeper than some of the other varieties. Let's see, off the top of my head, carrots, like light. So you can sprinkle some sand on it, but it doesn't need to be planted deep. Comfrey needs cold stratification. Lavender needs cold stratification, whereas the other varieties I mentioned earlier can just be planted directly. Pepper seeds. I know David really likes peppers. Super hots are what I describe as a really hot pepper, and that would be something like yellow Scotch bonnet or ghost pepper, scorpion peppers, and habaneros. Those can take anywhere from 21 to 30 plus days to germinate, whereas some of the other ones that are not so hot, like I mentioned, jalapeno, bell peppers, little baby bell peppers, those are really good. Those only take about 7 to 15 days, sometimes 21 days to germinate. So patience, especially for new gardeners, is very important as far as germination goes. So if you are a new gardener, definitely check those out. Oh, bullnose peppers that you got from us just sprouted. Good to know. David says, I'm growing the yellow Scotch bonnets that I ordered from you, plus like 50 other peppers. Oh, love to hear that. 100% germination on the bullnose peppers. Love, love, love that. All right, so next question. Again, for those of you just joining me, on our website, which is marysheirloomseeds.com. Hey, Not a Fiction 2.0, saying hello to the chat. I'm a new here, though I missed that. Though I am a customer since last season. Awesome, thank you and welcome. Jojo has joined the chat today. I'm not going to move my camera because it's a little tricky. So Four Horns Farm is joining us. Awesome, welcome. So for those of you just joining us, tonight is just a Q&A session. On our website at marysheirloomseeds.com, there is a page. It says grow your own food. And on that page is like a survey option. You can enter your information and ask a question. And I'm going to start answering those questions here on our live video. So the next question is, I'm new to raised bed gardening and need to know what to plant with what. I highly recommend, hey Jane B, welcome. I highly recommend companion planting and square foot gardening. So as I mentioned earlier in our comprehensive planting guide, which is also free and available on our website, you will find, not only will you find a square foot gardening plans, it will show you how many to plant per square, but there's also a companion planting list. So for example, if you're planting squash, you can plant oregano, marigolds, nasturtiums with your squash. If you're planting tomatoes, again, marigolds, basil, you can also plant nasturtiums, and my favorite, borage, an absolutely good one. Snow Wolf says, do you grow weed? No, we do not. However, we have lots of edible weeds growing outside. A lot of people don't realize that there are some amazing edible foods out in your own garden, like purslane, things like that. Things that you can grow yourself, things that are growing out there without you having to even plant it. All right, so next question for our Q&A session here today is squash bugs and vine borers. Now for those of you who have grown squash, they can be the bane of your existence in the garden, especially if you are an organic gardener. If you don't use harmful pesticides and herbicides, sometimes you will have a couple of squash issues, vine borer issues. Cindy says, Mary, hang on just a second. Mary, we know Jess's favorite vegetables. What are your favorites? Okay. Getting sidetracked here. We'll get back to the squash bugs and vine borers in just a minute. All right, so what are Mary's favorite vegetables to grow? For one, we eat a lot of greens. So one of the things that I love to grow is just general greens. So at marysheirloomseeds.com in our seed combo pack section, you'll find my favorite greens. And in that is, off the top of my head, you have flamingo pink Swiss chard, you have lacinato kale, David says, I think she has like 10 types that she made a few videos on what vegetables she likes. I love pretty much everything I grow in the garden. All right, so my 5 favorite greens, flamingo pink Swiss chard, lacinato kale, Osaka purple mustard, cilantro. A lot of people don't think about putting cilantro in your salads. It's amazing. And then what else? Four Horns Farm says, my favorite is the perpetual spinach from your garden. It is amazing as well. And then the Cimarron lettuce. The Cimarron lettuce is similar to the Little Gem, only it's a little more red and pink. So I really like adding the color. If I had to pick one favorite tomato, which would be really, really difficult, hands down, Cherokee purple tomato. Now for sauce, I would say it would be San Marzano tomato. Again, one of the best is San Marzano tomato. And then of course the yellow pepper tomato is really, really good. Let's see what else. I got all these questions. Everybody's asking me all kinds of fun stuff. That was a great question, by the way. I don't have a favorite cucumber, but the Lebanese cucumber, the Armenian cucumber is a really good one. It doesn't have a lot of seeds in it, so that's really a good plus. Four Horns Farm, I'm growing that lettuce. It's excellent. I love it. Ray Knight says, wow, I actually caught you live. Yay! Let me read that again. I actually got into gardening and buying seeds because of you. Let me tell you, that makes my day. As I mentioned in the beginning of our video, our goal when we first started Mary's Heirloom Seeds was to help people grow a healthier, successful garden. I don't care if you're planting 1 pack of seeds or 100 pack of seeds. Whether you're growing in a small container or a couple containers or acres upon acres of gardens. We want to help you grow an amazing garden, and I love to hear that we helped you get into gardening. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Jessie says, Rick is listening with me. Cool. She just snorted about the tomatoes. Hang on. Oh, yes, I know, Jessie, because you cannot get enough of the tomatoes. You have a big selection of them. So Four Horns Farm says, I didn't get much of a harvest due to squash bugs. So that was what I was talking when we got to my favorite, a few of my favorite things, as I say. Anybody ever watched that movie as a kid? Sound of Music. My granny was from England. Totally off topic, kind of, but my granny was who got me into gardening. She was from England. She came here after the war, and she grew some of the most amazing Roma tomatoes. Every summer, the whole family at different times of the day would go to her house different days of the week and make sandwiches out of her homegrown tomatoes because she had so many. So I think of my granny every time I see somebody like Julie Andrews or something because of that, probably because of the accent, but I grew up listening to it, so it's very familiar to me. Anyway, off topic, squirrel. Squash bugs and vine borers. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you don't, you crop rotate. So don't plant squash in the same place every year. Hopefully you can cut down on the amount of squash bugs you have by not providing them food every year. Sorry, it's coming in and out of focus. Can you all see me over there? So that is number one that I would suggest if you are planting squash and you had vine borers or squash bugs in previous years. Number two is going to be companion planting. So you can definitely use nasturtiums. That is one way that some people use. There are some natural options as well, and I will share those in the comments below. We've got a recipe link on our website for different things. Some people use neem oil and soapy water, And what happens is neem oil doesn't work on contact. Neem oil works on munching insects. So what happens is you spray the neem oil onto the plant absorbs the neem, and then the munching bugs come up and eat it and they die. But that's not a quick fix at all, but it is an option. Some people use diatomaceous earth on the soil around their plants. I don't recommend using diatomaceous earth on large areas or on flowering plants. And then, of course, once it gets wet, it's no longer active. So something to consider in your endeavors. Now, I did watch a video of someone taking a handheld vacuum cleaner and just sucking up the little bugs all over the plant. That is definitely an option. Just watch out for the bees and watch out for the other beneficials like ladybugs. Now, here's a shout out for you. Catherine at Little Bits of Heaven Homestead. She has a video about squash bugs and how she gets rid of squash bugs. So I highly recommend you check her out. In our property, we have not had squash bugs. Knock on wood. I shouldn't have even said it. We have not had a major infestation of squash bugs, so I have been really happy about that. Now, I did have a major infestation of cucumber beetles last year. And here is my suggestion. Trap cropping. I mentioned earlier with companion planting. Companion planting isn't always planting beautiful flowers around your garden and harvesting them or deterring plants. Sometimes trap cropping is outsmarting those pests. Now, what I've done in the past, and it's worked really well for me, is planting something like Hubbard blue squash on the outskirts of your garden. If you've seen it on my website, there's a picture of me holding this giant blue squash. I've had people tell me it looks like a giant frozen turkey. It was a 16.5-pound Hubbard blue squash. I only got one that whole season because it was a trap crop. What that means is I plant this one crop that is supposed to attract more of the pests in another area away from some of my other plants that I want to keep. And that way those pests can go and they can take care of that. My friend Kaylin at Elbin Mills Farm, she says what she's going to do is she's going to plant it in an area because she has squash issues. She's going to pull that whole pile up and burn it. Now, we're in California, so there's no burning allowed, but you could throw it in the trash. Do not ever compost diseased or pest-ridden plants. That is a great way to spread stuff. So you definitely want to make sure that you aren't spreading and adding more to you. Could you say the name of the channel that had the video on the squash bugs? I apologize. Her name is Catherine, and her YouTube channel is Little Bits of Heaven Homestead. Check out her videos. I love Catherine with all my heart. She's a sweet lady. And tell her Mary sent you, because we always send people back all the time. David says, I'm doing both trap cropping and companion planting. I did marigold, nasturtium, sunflowers, borage, multi-purpose crops. Perfect. Trap cropping really works. And honestly, you could buy all the fancy expensive stuff, store-bought chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, whatever, and it doesn't always work. And sometimes you're doing more damage than good. Yes, Annette, that is the channel, Little Bits of Heaven Homestead. So there's a lot of natural and organic options, specifically, like I mentioned, with companion planting. That's how we have the Three Sisters Garden method. That is a form of companion planting. All right, so squash bugs and vine borers we had. Okay, here's another funny one for you. This was mentioned on our Q&A page. So for those of you just joining me, I'm Mary at Mary's Heirloom Seeds. You can check out our website, which is marysheirloomseeds.com. When I'm done with the video, I'll post a couple links in the comments so you can see them, like our comprehensive planting guide that's free, all that fun stuff. Now, Kelly says, my problem is keeping ducks out of my garden. Mary, would the neem oil work on pill bugs, sow bugs? I'll answer the duck question in a second. Cindy, yes, but it will, your best bet for squash bugs, I'm sorry, not squash bugs, for pill bugs is to clean up some of the debris. Pill bugs aren't necessarily bad. It's just that, hey, Doc, can you check that for me, please? In the comments. Sorry, we have a loser here that decided to join us in our live video. I may have to leave for a second and get rid of the rude comments. She says, my problem is keeping ducks out of my garden. Hang on just a sec here. We don't have, hang on. Hang on. I'll leave it later. Back again. Sorry about that. I'll just have to deal with that later. Anyway. All right, so let's see if we can pause this. Hi, David. Welcome. We are going to see if I can fix this. Okay. So she says the problem is keeping ducks out of her garden. Unless you are, unless they're your ducks, unfortunately, that's going to be an issue for you. Let me just see if I can fix this real quick. There you go. How do you use cinnamon and other spices for keeping bugs away? You can use cinnamon for a couple ways. You can use cinnamon, make someone your moderator. Unfortunately, there we go. Hey, Anetta, you are now my moderator. Can you help me out with that one? I would really appreciate it. I don't have a moderator tonight, and somebody did say that I should get a moderator, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. So I'm going to go back up here for a second. And David, I just made you a moderator. So if either of you could get rid of our creepy creeper, that would be rad. All right. So there's a couple ways you can use different spices. Cayenne and cinnamon are two important ones. So if you can, different ways. Gophers don't like super stinky stuff. So that's one option for you as well. There is some sprays that you can use, like cayenne pepper and garlic. Some people use that one as a spray as well. So cinnamon is something that I use for dampening off. And it's also something that I use. Sorry, I'm just looking at this. Cinnamon is something you can use for dampening off, and it's also something you can use to keep some of your rooting. So it's a rooting hormone you can use as well. Barbara says, my pink brandy wines I got from you are germinating at 100%. Awesome. I've got seedlings all over my house. That is good to know. Layla says, all the seeds I ordered from you came, and I have them started in my greenhouse. Looking forward to the harvest. Awesome. We love to hear that. Thank you. So back to, sorry, I get totally sidetracked with questions and answers. Kelly says, my problem is keeping ducks out of my garden. If you don't have a fence for your garden and you have ducks, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to keep them out. So a fence is your best option. Now, lastly is, the question I had from someone is, my biggest obstacles are my ignorance. I have no experience, but I keep trying. Practice makes perfect. None of us are perfect, and none of us have perfect gardens. All I can suggest to you is just do your best. Plant your seeds, use our tutorials. We have them, they're free. One of the homesteaders that I follow, her YouTube channel as well, she posted to social media the other day, and she said that um, she was upset that people were charging a lot of money. In her opinion, was a large amount of money, and it really was, to plan your gardens. But the thing is, number one, for some people that's a business, so I'm not going to knock anybody that's trying to earn an income on building people's gardens. But what I will say is there's a lot of free information out there. If you want to grow your healthiest garden, we're here to help. I am Mary. There really is a Mary, and I do try to help you get the best information out there for you. Hey, thank you very much. So I am brand new at YouTube Live. So this is something new for me, and I do appreciate you guys have joined me and encouraged me all along the way. Definitely hit that like button on this video, share it with your friends, share it on your social media pages, tag a friend, whatever you want to do. Thank you, Annette. I really do appreciate you coming to my rescue tonight. Cindy said that you clean up the debris. Hang on. You clean up the debris. We have a ton of pill bugs growing. It's very frustrating. That is one of the few issues that I have, that I do have in the garden, and that's the pill bugs. Some people will use certain things. The neem oil should help, but unfortunately it may harm other insects. So you do have to be careful with what you use. Some people use a neem, not a neem spray, but a neem meal in their garden. And that may be an option for you as well. It's not something I've used. So I'll just kind of throw that out there. It's an option, but not something I've used. So the last question was what I wanted to finish off with you for today. As we mentioned a couple times, my goal is to help you grow the healthiest garden possible. So for those of you that are just joining me, check out the comments as we're finished. I'm going to post some links to share to help you grow the healthiest garden. Don't give up. I interviewed a 9-year-old. Her name is Kaylin. I think she's 11 now. And her advice to brand new gardeners was, don't give up. Keep planting, keep persevering. Every year we learn new things. I've been doing this for a long time, since I was a kid growing with my granny, and I still learn new things every day. Every day in the garden is a new experience, and everything that you might consider a failure in the garden is an opportunity to learn new things. We learn sometimes by doing, and by failing, or what we see as a failure is actually a learning experience. All right, so I am Mary, and I'm going to sign off for the day. I'm going to get back to the garden and back to seed orders. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Send me an email. I'm mary@marysheirloomseeds.com. If you're looking for awesome seeds, check out marysheirloomseeds.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, share the video, do all that fun stuff, and most importantly, happy planting.